Bubba Wallace here from 2311 Racing. Funny thing about being fast, you end up waiting a lot. First to show up, first in line, then just waiting. Me, I rev up Chumba Casino. With over 200 social casino games, no slow lanes here. Why sit around when you can spin? I'm already racing. Your turn. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You are about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. So in the first hour, we talked about Trump's medical results, looking at his chronic venous insufficiency, the leg swelling, what as physicians we look for whenever we do see swelling in the legs. How's the heart pump working? How are the pipes working in terms of flow, both arteries and veins? Are there any blood clots? How are the filters working, such as your liver and kidneys? But there's been some debate from doctors in that the letter that his doctor had shared had said that the president was in excellent health. And some people are questioning, is he really in excellent health if he has chronic venous insufficiency? And so when I see the summary from Dr. Barbabella saying President Trump remains in excellent health. Excellent is a term we use oftentimes in medicine that where we don't necessarily have concrete categories. Is in good health, is in fantastic health, is in excellent health. But I could tell you, if I use that terminology, and I don't really like to use that terminology because it's too subjective. But if I was going to say somebody was in excellent health, I would use that term as opposed to good health. They're in good health. If they don't need chronic management. So if somebody's in good health, they're doing good. I'm not going to say they're excellent. I'm not going to say that they are completely in the clear, but, their diabetes is in good control. Their cancer hasn't come back. Their markers for cancer seem to be negative for now. They're at higher risk, but right now, considering where they should be, they're good. Excellent health I would use for, no heart disease. Your numbers or your cardiac function should have shown something. And in President Trump's case, 79 years old, and it doesn't. Wow. That's good. You are doing better than the average 79-year-old. Your cholesterol's in good control. Your liver function's good. Your heart function's good. Your kidney function are good. Your cancer screens are good. That's excellent. For a 79-year-old, you're doing excellent. Now, I don't use those terms. To me, I just like objective summaries. But I understand in Dr. Barbabella's case, who is the physician to the president, a doctor of osteopathy, and a captain in the U.S. Navy, I understand that they do need a summary and they do need, something short and sweet, saying he's good. But if somebody does have chronic venous insufficiency, that doesn't mean he's at optimal health. It means he is showing some wear and tear as it pertains to age, as it pertains to his veins, as it pertains to, him always being on his feet. And he's got cankles. And a lot of us do. 1 in 20 of us will get chronic venous insufficiency. A good number of us get it more often when we're over 50. And, I look at President Trump as a 79-year-old, very cautiously optimistic. I think he has had great medical care his whole life. It sounds like his medical team is on top of it as opposed to Biden's medical team. It sounds like he's not cocky enough where he won't let doctors do what they need to do. But he does have a very high-stress job. It doesn't look like he takes a day off. And he has put in a lot of miles. And miles raises your biological age. And I hope he lives a long, healthy life. But I am, as I said, cautiously optimistic because of his age and because of his very significant lifestyle. Also, his weight is not ideal. And I don't know how much physical activity or how much gym time he gets. But he looks strong. His bones look strong. He doesn't look feeble. He looks mentally with it. But if he does have swelling of the legs, that is a sign of wear and tear. It is a sign that the veins are not pushing the blood back and he's getting some pooling of fluid. But they don't think it's due to a blood clot. They don't think it's due to heart failure or a pump issue. They don't think it's due to kidney or liver disease. And it sounds like he had a thorough exam. And as I explained, blood needs to be oxygenated in the lungs. After the lungs oxygenate the blood, it goes down the left atrium into the left ventricle of the heart, and it gets pumped out through the body with force. Through an aorta, then arteries, arterioles, capillaries. The tissues pick up the oxygen from the blood through the capillaries. Then you start to get the venules and the deoxygenated blood and the sort of vasculature that'll help propagate the blood back to the right atrium of the heart, down to the right ventricle, so that blood can be pumped into the lungs to get oxygenated again, for it to go back through the left atrium, down to the left ventricle, and then pumped throughout the body. We have little valves in our veins, and these valves in our veins could sometimes collapse. For people like me that were on my feet, waiting tables, doing 36-hour shifts, standing, delivering babies, C-sections, 8-hour OR stents of surgeries that would go that long. Yeah, I got some wear and tear on my ankles. But, overall, you can be in good or excellent health. Is Trump really in excellent health? I hope he is. For a 79-year-old, it looks like he's in excellent health. No, I don't want to say nobody wants him to go anywhere, but especially the people who love him. They don't want him to go anywhere. So, sounds like his medical team is on the case, and I think that's very reassuring and not surprising. 1-877-Doc-Daliah.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi guys, Dr. Daliah here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdaliah.com. Check it out.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com.
Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Battling for years and years, stuck in the endless cycle of minimum payments could take decades. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020. That's 800-878-6020. 800-878-6020.
Riley Herbst from 2311 Racing here, and you know what grinds my gears? Waiting for coffee. But instead of counting frappes and lattes, I fire up Chumba Casino. No apps, no fuss, just fun social casino games to pass the time. By the time my coffee's ready,
Order for Riley.
I've already taken a few victory laps. Next time you're stuck waiting, make it entertaining. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So we have some breaking news. A deadly explosion has occurred at the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department training facility in the City Terrace area of East LA. We're being told that 3 deputies are dead. The incident is believed to be an accident at this time. Happened at about 7:30 a.m. local time at the LASD compound. It's believed, according to ABC7 Eyewitness News, that the compound is the one that houses the Sheriff Department's Special Enforcement Units and Bomb Squad. It appears the Sheriff's Enforcement Bureau personnel were handling some kind of explosives when there was a blast. This is according to preliminary information from sources. Sadly, 3 deputies were killed in the incident. We are unsure if there have been any other injuries. This is a developing story. They say LAFD and ATF arson investigators and members of the LAPD bomb squad are now assisting at the training facility. This horrific accident happened in Monterey Park. The thoughts of all Angelinos are with those impacted by this blast. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has confirmed that the bomb squad is responding to the scene and assisted with the incident. And the Governor Newsom, has been briefed as well. So we'll keep you posted, but just tragic. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So Governor Gavin Newsom has been getting criticized because of his discussion on a podcast regarding transgender athletes. And he had said that it was, quote, deeply unfair for transgender athletes to participate in girls' sports. This breaking with the Democratic Party, according to Cal Matters. Now, I don't think the Democratic Party is all in agreement with that, because the Democratic Party is also very pro-women. And they're very pro-progression of women's rights and women equality and having access to things that men do. And so, it's very interesting when I see that sort of verbiage where Gavin Newsom is breaking with the Democratic Party supporting girls in sports. Democratic Party needs to rethink what's their official stance on that. But another piece of verbiage and wording that confuses me was the following. So I guess Jeopardy has this host, Ken Jennings. I haven't watched Jeopardy since Alec Trebek had died. May he rest in peace. And apparently he has been slamming Governor Gavin Newsom. And he says he would never vote for the politician based on his views on transgender kids. So on his post on X, he says, I will never, ever vote for Gavin Newsom ever under my circumstances. I don't care if he becomes the Democratic nominee. He's still not getting my vote. He said that is correct. Any candidate cynically triangulating on trans kids is a non-starter. And now is the time to say no. He says there's still so much time to advance candidates that don't suck. So I want to investigate the term trans kids. When in society do we, as it pertains to voting, as it pertains to signing legal documents, as it pertains to making medical decisions and giving informed consent, do we have a kid be the sole decision maker? We don't. We don't, because children may not have the experience, the aptitude, the maturity, or the understanding of what that decision could entail. They may also lack the foresight. And the idea of trans kids, and that we are having a growing and robust population of trans kids, is confusing me. Because children change their mind. Children grow. They learn. It's very rare that a child's attitude towards something will persist all the way into adulthood. And when we talk about something as serious as hating your body, hating your chromosomes of XX or XY, hating your body parts and your potential fertility, we're trusting that to a 5-year-old, to an 8-year-old, to a 13-year-old? Is there an argument that a child is truly trans? Now, I do believe there is a very, very small set of population where they wake up and they say, I'm in the wrong body. This is not my body. I should have never had this body. I've been transposed into this, or this is not me. And that's gender dysphoria. But society has allowed it to be less severe. Saying if you don't want to be a boy or a girl, you don't have to be. Well, what if you have size 10 feet? Do you have something for that? What if you have scoliosis? What if you have very fair skin? What if you have dark skin and you don't want that? See, as a kid, even though I would have preferred to be a boy, I'm a girl. This is my lot. I'm going to make the best of it. And I did. And boy, dude, I love being a girl. Any thoughts I had as a kid going, this sucks to be a girl, I would really have liked being a boy. I can't change it. These are my parts. I got to make the period cramps work. I got to make the labor pains work. And you want to know what? I am so grateful. I would have never wanted to be a guy after I got to experience all the amazing things I got to experience. But I didn't appreciate it until later. How does a 5 or 8 or 13-year-old kid make that decision? And so what I disliked about my body is I couldn't stand that I couldn't tan. I hated freckles. I hated that I didn't have my blonde hair like I did as a baby, that my hair was getting darker. I hated that I was more bigger boned. And by the time I was 13 years old, my feet were a size 13. Now, I could have been psychologically traumatized, and I could have suffered from body dysmorphic disorder. Or I could have chosen to, I'm going to make the best of it. Use these feet to run. Use these feet to be more athletic. Use my pale skin to change the way I do my makeup. I don't know. And, I'm born to families that get spanked up one side the ass and down the other with cancer, heart disease. I don't get to change that. This is what I'm given, and this is what I have to deal with. And so a worry I have is we're taking kids, and rather than teaching them how to make good with what they have, their large hands, their right-handedness, their left-handedness, their dyslexia, their attention deficit, their hair color, their skin vulnerability to skin cancer. I was told ever since I was a little girl, I'm going to get melanoma because my skin is so white. When you have things that you are told put you at higher risk for things, you spend years training and learning and researching and building a resilience. If you know that osteoporosis runs in the family, you're going to be busting your butt on your bones. Now, there might be some medications to help. But if what we're doing is we're telling a kid, look, you don't like being a boy, you don't like being a girl, you don't have to deal with it. We're just going to give you medication. We're going to take this on. And then they think they're going to be somebody they're not. And you're telling me that's helping them psychologically? And how do we know the average kid isn't going to change their mind half a dozen times? Now, people will always argue, but Dr. Daliah, if somebody's homosexual, they're going to be homosexual for life. You're right, but homosexuality is not transgender. Just because somebody may have an affinity, an attraction to people of their own sex, doesn't mean they want to change their body parts. It doesn't mean they don't want to have babies. There's a lot of homosexual individuals that would love to be a father or mother. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regeneration. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com.
Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So we have multiple people regretting them getting the COVID vaccine. I don't blame you. The whole way that vaccine was rolled out and dispensed, and people were threatened to lose their jobs. And even though media said, well, you're not being held down, you could refuse. If you were in the medical community, you'd be out of a career. If you refuse to get the COVID vaccine, the hospital, according to Biden, threatened to take hospital and medical facilities funding away. So you'd get canned. And since most hospitals and medical centers rely on government funding, if you weren't COVID vaccinated, you couldn't get a job. I can't tell you how many jobs I looked at and was looking at the applications, and they asked, did you get your COVID vaccine? Now, I did. I don't necessarily regret. I'm glad I did at the time, but I was worried that there would be side effects. I was worried that I might not get natural immunity. Once I got COVID anyway, which they said, well, you have to get the shot so you don't get COVID. We got COVID anyway. Then I built up some natural immunity. I'm glad I did. I just don't like the fact that I got COVID because I think it changed my memory. I think it changed a lot of my body. But that was in the past. We move on. But even though we're moving on, we still need to study if, for those of us who did get the vaccine, are we going to suffer from any side effects? So a report being published in Daily Mail says that some of us who got the Pfizer COVID vaccine might have increased risk of eye damage. This study looked at how the vaccine affected patients' corneas. Now, cornea is the cover. It's a clear part of the eye that allows light to enter and affects if we're farsighted or nearsighted. That's why when you get LASIK or PRK, it alters your cornea structure to allow there to be a distance change. So when the focus hits the back of the eyeball, it hits the retina right on as opposed to too far or too short. And they say in 64 people, scientists in Turkey measured changes in the cornea's inner layer called the endothelium. And they looked at them before they took their first Pfizer dose, and then 2 months after they got their second dose. And results showed that taking both doses of the vaccine led to thicker corneas, fewer endothelial cells in the eye, and more variation in size of the specialized cells that form in the endothelium. In the short term, these changes suggested that the vaccine might have temporarily weakened the endothelium, even though the patients didn't appear to suffer from clear vision problems. And if you have healthy eyes, it might not affect you. But they said these changes could last for years. They could lead to corneal swelling, blurry vision, especially in those with pre-existing eye problems or people who have had a cornea transplant. If the cornea thickens and you have reduced cell density, this could contribute to corneal edema, bullous keratopathy, corneal decompensation. These can all affect your vision, whether it's blurriness or even loss. And it would have to be treated. So this study was published in Ophthalmic Epidemiology, and it was published yesterday, or actually Wednesday. And they said that the endothelium should be closely monitored, especially with those with a low endothelial count or who have had a corneal graft. An eye doctor can use certain microscopes and slit lamps and things like that to measure the cornea, look at the cornea. There's also tools, specular microscopy. But, if you do have eye vision issues, eye discomfort, get checked out. Now, my issue is my vision is worse since my COVID vaccine. But also, it's been 4 years. So I got my COVID vaccine early 2021. Is my vision worse because of age or because I had the Pfizer COVID vaccine? You know, so there's diseases like Fuchs dystrophy, there's eye surgeries, other injuries and infections that can affect your cornea. Scraping, I wore contacts for years, and usually your cornea heals pretty well. But the team found that the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine caused a patient's cornea to go from 528 to 542 micrometers in thickness, or 0.0208 inches to 0.0213 inches. That's a 2% increase. And a slightly thicker cornea could sadly cause you to have unclear vision. Now, of course, the team in Turkey did not tell you to stop vaccinating. They still recommend if you need vaccines. This is not something that they are, shall we say, using as an argument to not vaccinate for COVID. Trust me, if you got any of the COVID complications of inability to breathe, stroke, heart disease, that would be way worse. But those individuals who kept saying that these shots are 100% safe are wrong. Nothing is 100% safe. And I do believe that for some individuals, the shot caused harm. For most individuals, it gave them protection. But as with any medication or any vaccine, there's going to be certain of a small subtype of individuals who didn't do well. And how we approach that in society is you don't mandate it. You understand that some people may have a bad side effect. So you don't force it. You make it a person's choice. But that's not what happened under the Biden administration. They didn't want free choice. And I'm really frustrated with that. You know, one thing that also really still needs some explanation to me is why women's periods changed after the vaccine. When people would call me saying, look, I'm not pregnant, but I've missed my period now for 6 weeks. First thing I would ask them is not when their last unprotected sex was. The first thing I asked them was, did you get a COVID vaccine? I'll still take a pregnancy test, but we found that COVID vaccines could shift your period depending on where in your cycle you took it. Why? Why would mRNA technology, which has been tried and true, but now formulated in a new vaccine for COVID, why would that affect somebody's period? And then did that affect fertility? There were some early studies discussing miscarriage with the vaccine. Then you didn't hear much about those studies, and you heard that OBs were recommending that you get the COVID vaccine because COVID could hurt the fetus. Pregnant women were confused. Like, what are we supposed to do? So when RFK Jr. and the Health and Human Services Department said, you know what, we're going to rechange our recommendations as it pertains to COVID vaccines, and we're not going to necessarily recommend it in pregnant individuals or young kids. Some people lost their mind, but everybody else was like, okay, let's study it more. And that's what RFK Jr. said they would do. Let's study it more and see if this is something we need to be routinely recommending. And listen, COVID was scary, and it was killing people. I think the numbers were skewed because before they were testing, or if somebody died of a heart attack, but also might have been positive for COVID, which killed them. The heart attack, COVID, both. So I believe the numbers might have been skewed, but we did see people die of COVID. There's no lie about that. Doctors, right, left, pro-vaccine, anti-vaccine, pro-Biden, anti-Biden, they were like, we have people dying of COVID. That was real. And it hit us hard. And I believe it was here in America in the fall of 2019, which would mean it got leaked in the summer of 2019. When I first brought that up, people said I was a conspiracy theorist. I was wrong. I was spreading misinformation. And now we have facts to prove it. I'm like, come on, people. So if at all you do have some vision issues, get yourself checked out. But make sure you let your providers know if at all you did get a COVID vaccine in case they are collecting that data. 1-877-Dr. Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. So I've been under the impression that Hollywood has already been using AI. A lot of these scenes with, that's not CMG. What's it called? CGI. A lot of these scenes with CGI and special effects, and I'm sure AI is being used. Well, apparently there's this big uproar because Netflix admits that they used generative AI in one of their sci-fi hits to cut costs. There's a scene in the Argentina sci-fi series called The Eternaut, or Eternaut, and it was a first for one of Netflix's original shows or films, and Ted Sarandos, the Netflix co-CEO, said the use of AI was faster than using traditional visual effects tools and helped cut costs. I'm surprised it's the first we're hearing of it. Of course, people have been using AI already for this. But the fact that he's admitting it and he's saying, look, it's cheaper and making it better is just, a reality check for people in the industry that their jobs are going to be replaced. He said that VFX sequence was completed 10 times faster than it could have been completed with traditional VFX tools and workflows. He said the cost of it just wouldn't have been feasible for a show in that budget. So they used AI to generate a scene of a building collapsing in Buenos Aires. They say we remain convinced that AI represents an incredible opportunity to help creators making films and series better, not just cheaper. Now, I have been watching movies for the last 10, 15 years that look like it's all computer-generated imagery. Yeah, and CGI. And the Avengers, not the Avengers was an excellent movie, but there wasn't a lot of realism in that. Everybody's in front of a green screen, watching Lord of the Rings filmed, not right there, but seeing how they did that with Spiegel. They're using a lot of tech. So if you're already using tech and it's not technically really Spiegel or, Aragorn falling off a cliff in the horse, then who cares if you use AI or not? Well, industry leaders care, especially if it's going to save them money, and the workers care if it's going to cause them to lose their job. So the streaming service revealed a new AI-powered search feature on mobile that lets users find shows or movies using conversational phrases. Phrases like, I want something funny or upbeat, stories about dancers. And so it's interesting how we're going to, computers are already learning us. I was talking to my husband about, I don't know, I want to go to Disneyland again. And for weeks, all I got were Disneyland ads and hotel ads and Mickey Mouse popping up. They're already listening. They're already learning us. But, now that we're seeing that people aren't funny, and I'm watching these movies, really, that was the best you could do with Barbie. I wish they used AI on Barbie because they had her cry and the story was stupid. They could have done so much better with Barbie and, her, not necessarily being a superhero, but, solving some amazing, case or doing something miraculous. I don't know. They could have taken that movie so differently. And so I'm actually hoping we see more AI because I think these writers stink. Look at Stephen Colbert. I'm not shocked that his show was getting canceled. It's fascinating, though. Adam Schiff was shocked. Adam Schiff wrote, just finished taping with Stephen Colbert, who announced his show was canceled. He said, if Paramount and CBS ended The Late Show for political reasons, the public deserves to know and deserves better. Well, I think, Adam Schiff, you just revealed why the Stephen Colbert Show got canceled. You were a guest. How many people are going to forego all the other entertainment that's out there to see you on Stephen Colbert? You're a senator. You're not very entertaining and very funny. You just answered your own question. That's why Stephen Colbert got canceled. Because his guests are you. That's not exciting. No offense. But people are not breaking down the living room door to scramble for the couch, Homer Simpson style, to see an interview with you. Now, if Stephen Colbert is turning into a political show, then maybe MSNBC might hire him. But if this is supposed to be a late show comedy, no, that's boring. Nobody wants to see politics. And maybe we really need AI to understand that people don't like this stuff. What do people want? Now, one problem I'm having with movies is there's too much CGI. I want good stories. I want good content. One thing that, Squid Game is pretty barbaric, and boy, does it get pretty bloody. But you're not sitting there bombarded with tech. It's about a story. It's about characters. And that's one of the reasons why it was so popular. Because you're not sitting there, watching all this imagery. Ant-Man was on, Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I guess they had a building that could be turned small and then turned big, and it goes, and it was an entertaining movie. But I'm beyond that. The average kid doesn't look at that and go, wow. They see too much of it, and it's really unrealistic. See, Superman was the movie I saw as a kid. And Superman 2, I like Superman 2 more than Superman 1. And yes, that had special effects. And he was supposedly flying and things like that. But with that, you're like, wow. Well, and now these kids, Iron Man, Superman, Wonder Woman, Grand Theft Auto. All they see is imagery. It's not exciting anymore. Where's the story? There needs to be a good story. Where's the comedy? Where's the drama? Where's the good content? And we're not seeing it. Elizabeth Warren says CBS canceled Colbert's show just 3 days after Colbert called out CBS parent company Paramount for its $16 million settlement with Trump, a deal that looks like bribery. She says America deserves to know if his show was canceled for political reasons. We know why his show got canceled. He has poor ratings. If he had barely can get 1 million people to watch the show, and the show isn't funny, and he's talented. I loved him 25 years ago on The Daily Show. He's a talented guy. I think he could also sing. I loved him in The Office. But the Stephen Colbert show sucks. That's why. And maybe the answer is yes. The political reason is his show is full of politics. Nobody wants that. So I use the AI then. Because all I know is I am getting very disappointed because there's fewer shows to watch that have a good story and are good quality. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA-1. That's 800-JBS-USA-1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA-1 today.